What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Wheel of Time video. And today it's a little different. It's a lot different. We've got a guest. We've got a very special guest, a very good supporter of this channel, James. Thank you so much for joining in my channel. How's it going, man?
Good to be here, man.
So the
Yeah, other
so the
side of the
time
world.
difference is a bit, yeah, the time difference is a bit mad, man. Like, how much is like 7:14? What was it again? How much
I think it's
hours?
like, well, what time is it for you? It's 8 a.m. for me.
8 a.m. It's like almost 6 p.m. for me. So
Yeah, so there's a bit of a
it's
difference there.
literally it's like a polar opposite, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah. We'll make
it's,
it work,
it's
so.
it will make it work though. So James here, he's finished the Wheel of Time. How have you read it like more than once by any chance?
So I've read a lot of it more than once.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's probably from like 10 to 14. I've only read the once. Uh, and that's just because like over the year, it's taken me like 15 years to slowly work my way through the series and actually make it to the end in like a
Yeah.
full take, you know.
Nah,
So
I
I'd
get
like
what you
put it
mean.
down for years when I was at
Mm,
uni, and then I didn't pick it up again till later, so I just started fresh.
mm,
But I eventually finished the series for the first time about a year ago now. Um,
hmm.
but yeah, I've read the first, I don't know, 8 books a hell of a lot of times probably over the years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
And as you and as all my other subscribers know, I only finished one book, The Eye of the World.
yeah,
And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of exceeded my expectations. Sanderson was the reason why I got into reading in general, and knowing that Robert Jordan was his inspiration, like when I read The Way of King, the first book of the Stormlight, I was like, this is the best book I've ever read in my entire life. Like,
mm,
what have I been missing out on? And then watched the trailer. You guys just bombarded me to read the book,
that
started
all
the book,
happened.
and yo,
We're
like,
a very open arms community.
so yeah, the community has been unbelievable, man. Like you guys are crazy. You guys get excited to watch someone share their thoughts, rambling about how awesome the story is.
That's
Like,
because of how awesome this story is. And
okay.
for us as people who've like seen it to its completion and been reading it for years and years, it's it's so great when a new viewer starts posting their opinions on it and we get to experience it through fresh eyes for the first time. Um,
Okay, that's it. I know what you mean because I read One Piece. It's an anime manga series, has over 1,000 chapters. Whenever someone new starts it, I was like, "Oh, did you pick up on that?" Because trust me, that's gonna
yeah,
be
exactly.
important. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I see where you guys are coming from, and I get it, man. So today, I'm going to be asking James some stuff that didn't quite make complete sense, and James might ask me a few questions at the end, and we'll just see how it goes from then onwards. So without
Yeah.
further ado, let's just begin, man. So the first question I have in regards to the Eye of the World is mainly the ending. I feel like
Yep.
the
I
like the
wondered how quick
story.
it'd take you to get to that. Frustrating.
No, I'm just gonna start off
The
with the
fuck
ending.
happened, man? I
Let's
don't know
go
if you believe
backwards. Yeah,
or
let's go backwards. So the ending, like I think the last four chapters, the pacing just shot up like at a very steep slope. Like it was skyrocketing high.
Mhm.
And at times it was kind of hard to keep track of what was happening because so the first misconception is the eye. It's like a pool, right? And it still doesn't completely make sense. Like, what is the purpose of the eye? Do you know what I mean? Like, they said that they need to go to the eye to have a battle. Like, that's what Moraine told the guy from Faldera. Because I was expecting them to like do something. Do you know what I mean? Like, they probably had like a objective, but when they got there,
Sure.
two Forsakens came out of nowhere. So it was like it wasn't planned. Do you know what I mean? So it just
Hmm.
happened according to the pattern, if that's what you say. So what was their initial objective when they were going to the eye?
Okay. So the thing that sort of there were 3 things that pointed towards it and made Moraine think, "Oh, this is important." Um, One of them was in the dreams. Baalzamon was said something to the boys like, "The eye of the world will not serve you."
Mhm.
I can't remember the exact line. That might be it.
Yeah,
but-
that's literally it. Yeah.
So that was one of the clues that pointed towards it. Another was when Perrin and Egwene are with the traveling people, they get told a story of how, even despite the fact that they never usually speak to Tinkers, an Aiel person told this story of how Sight Blinder was trying to blind the eye of the world.
Yep.
So that was another hint. And then there was a third one as well, but I can't actually remember what it was off the top of my
Was
head.
it the Great Serpent
But
or something
anyway,
like that? Or
yeah,
something like
blind the
I'm not
great
sure.
serpent. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Kill the great serpent and blind the eye of the
Blind.
world,
Yeah,
or something
blind.
like that. And so it was those things sort of combining that pointed towards the idea that the eye was important. And I don't think Moraine actually knew what it was. She just knew that where it was, and that it was in the Green Man's abode. That's sort of why they went there, because things were pointing at it. I will actually say, though, for the record, that is one of the few things in the story that feels a bit disjointed to me, especially early on. So there is room for confusion there. It does sort of pivot towards the eye of the world, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's about
So
as
like,
much as I can reveal without going into deeper context, I think,
yeah,
of
I
why
think I
they were
wouldn't
going
want
there.
I wouldn't want to
Sorry.
get spoiled, so I understand where you're coming from. So if you read more books later onwards, does that get clarified over time, or is it still like kind of disjointed?
Nothing that I mean, everything that I said there was in the first book anyway.
Yep.
I can explain the eye further without spoilers. That's fine, because it's also stuff you've covered in this book. And the eye is essentially a pool of untainted Saidin.
Mm-hmm.
Saidin being the male half of the One Power. Try and keep this as new reader friendly as possible as well, and be clear with what I'm talking about. Saidin, the male half of the One Power, of course, is tainted, as we know. And the Eye of the World is a pool of untainted Saidin in that secret place in the Green Man's realm area. I can't remember what they call it. It's a while since I've read the first book, actually. I'm on book 5 at the minute.
I forgot what it was. It was they went under some place. It was
Yeah, like they
underneath
go
some, yeah.
underground. Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
cave thingy, yeah, you know what I mean? And then yeah,
I've got a question for you in a second.
You know what? Hit me up right now.
Okay.
Hit me up right now. Hit me up. I'm
Okay.
interested now.
So in the Eye of the World, like in that little cave area,
Yeah.
there are some specific descriptions and sort of scenery and objects described
Okay.
that hint at something like a setting clue, a theme clue.
Is it the
That
gem
isn't.
huts or the gems?
I can't remember what it actually calls them.
Oh, so it is them. I
Might
remember
be
when they walked in there, it was like stones and gems or something like that everywhere
like
around the whole
light in the
pool.
walls and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Is that the?
I wondered if you picked up on anything like that at the Eye.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be relevant going forward.
Uh,
That's
not specifically.
I'll take that as a
It's
yes.
just a
Then.
clue about the world that came before, basically. And you'll learn more about that anyway. I mean, there's a few things in the Eye of the World about that. So let me just ask you that then. If you've heard of the Age of Legends, right? Like,
I've heard of it, but I just didn't really pay too much attention to that whole aspect. Like anything that's got to
sure.
do with like the history of Robert Jordan's world, like that's one thing that I'm trying to not focus too much. You know what I mean? For example, the history of Manetheren or the history of Arthur Hawkins. You know what I mean? That stuff. I feel like it's going to be explained more.
Okay, so conceptually, you'll get there, and we'll have that conversation probably at the end of probably in a video entitled "So You Just Finished the Shadow Rising" or something like that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which book that is, but I'm sure
book
it's like
4,
way down
book
the
4.
line. Oh, book 4. Okay, that's
Yeah,
not too bad. You know, that's not too bad.
If you haven't picked up on it by then I'll be really asking some questions. So.
No, trust me, bro. Trust me. Like with me, I take my time when I read the book. It took me
Hey,
5 weeks
you
to
catch
finish.
things. You catch
exactly.
things. Trust
That's
me.
fine. That's the beauty of reading slowly and taking your time. Do you know what I mean? Just enjoy it. Make some crazy theories which are right and wrong, and yeah, man, it's all fun at the end of the day, man. So another question I have, bro. After the battle, that after the
Which one?
battle against Ba'al-Zaman, the last one, Randon Ba'al-Zaman, when
Sure.
he came back, and then Perrin, Matt, and everyone else brought back what was left in the eye, or
Yeah.
what was given from the eye. I'm not sure how you're meant to describe that, but
I can
the one
explain
that
that.
the one that I found trouble reading was the fragments, those
Yeah,
pieces.
yeah. I saw someone
So
in the comments about that, like confusion
yeah,
about it.
a few people told me. I initially thought it was just multiple different what do you call it, fragments, right? I thought each fragment was like a key to the Dark One's what do you call it? He's in what's the word for it, man? He's
Seals to the Dark One's prison.
yeah,
That's what
to
they
his
are.
prison. To his prison. I
To
don't
his
know why
prison,
that was
yeah.
too hard, but I love it, man. And then people tell me in the comments that's actually one fragment broken into multiple pieces, and I was like, did I read that wrong? So
that was one of the seals. There are 7 seals on the Dark One's prison. Each one is a disc, roughly the size of a plate, I think, like a small plate, made of a material called Quendiar, which is unbreakable by anything known to anyone.
okay.
It's like half white and half black in like a yin yang type symbol, which is an ancient symbol of Aes Sedai. So they're the seals on the prison, and the existence of them whole is what prevents the Dark One from escaping his prison. The fact that one of those seals is broken means the locks on his prison are weakening, essentially. So yeah, that was multiple fragments of a single seal, one of the 7 seals. I'd just go and clarify something for you as well, because I thought of it when you were asking that question about the seals. So you were like, they pulled them out of the bottom of the cave, right? So I'm sure that the fight between 2 dudes who randomly appeared at the end.
The Forsaken, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you know they're Forsaken. I'm just trying not to accidentally.
I don't know what
things
Forsaken is. They were just
okay. It doesn't mean
Forsaken.
anything to you yet, but
okay.
they've been called the Forsaken.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's all I know. Yeah. That's all I know.
Sure.
That's all I know.
I can work with that.
Okay. Actually, the Forsaken did tell them that they have been waiting for them, and I also know that these guys are super old. Like, I think one of the Forsaken said something like he has also battled Luz, the guy from the prologue, yeah, the previous dragon. He's fought him, so
yeah.
He's fought, so that means he must be waiting for a long time. You know what I mean? That's what I've got in my head, or maybe he was imprisoned and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
the
too many
Forsaken
possibilities.
were sealed in the ball with the Dark One during Luce Therin Telemon, who you just mentioned. In the prologue chapter, he has pretty much just before the prologue done that, sealed the Dark One and the Forsaken away.
Okay.
The Forsaken, without spoiling anything, are a group of the biggest bad guys who were there in the Age of Legends and the all-powerful channelers in their own right. The fact that they are there waiting is what sort of lets us assume that the seal was broken much earlier.
Like, yeah, it makes sense that the seal has been broken and then they popped up, but how long has it been since it broke? Like, did it break like a few minutes before they came? Did it break like a few years before they came? So many possibilities.
I can't tell you.
Of course,
I would say within the year as a guess, but like
okay. As a
that's
guess,
just a guess. Yeah.
I'll take your word for now, man. I'll take your word for it. It's probably like 1,000 years.
It could be like a day though. I mean, I can tell you when it was put there. It wasn't broken, and it was less than 1,000 years ago. But I'm not going to say any more than that.
Honestly, we'll leave it at that.
Probably just confusing you more rather than clarifying things now.
Remember that guy from the prologue, the guy who was known as the Betrayer? Was he was he also a Forsaken?
Yes.
Is he the same guy who fought Rand at the end?
Kind of.
You know what? We don't have to answer that question. I
Yeah.
feel like that's something
Rafa. You
he
probably don't
did.
know what Rafa means. Read and find out. RAFO. You will see that all the time in the Wheel of Time community if you ask a question that you shouldn't. So if I say Rafa or Rafa, that's
Okay.
read and find out.
Rafa. I'll keep that in
Yeah.
mind. Rafa. I'll keep that in mind. Another thing that I would like to talk about is in one of Rand's dream, right? He was running away from Baal Zamon, right?
Mhm.
And then he came in a room with mirrors all around him. And when he looked in the mirror, he saw Baal Zamon as like a part of himself.
Mhm.
So it's hard to describe. It's almost like whenever he looked at himself, he saw Baal Zamon. That's a little trippy. Do you know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah, it is a little trippy. Yeah.
I feel like
I can agree with that.
at the start I thought Rand was somehow connected with Baal Zamon, but then when we got to the end, I thought when Rand was going to hurt Baal Zamon, he would hurt himself. If that made sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But then obviously I was wrong. So
Yeah.
what was that whole thing about? Without going into spoilers.
The thing is, with a lot of these answers, you could probably like get to them yourself with enough time. It just becomes much clearer and
I know. I'm just so
like
curious.
evidence rather than theories when you do
Yeah.
read it. But I think there's enough that I can say without spoiling to sort of help to answer that at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you put yourself in Balzamon's shoes and one of these boys is potentially like going to be the biggest threat to you escaping, just theoretically, wouldn't you want him to think that he was you? Or something to that effect, something trippy to that effect. Wouldn't you want him to think he was connected to you in some sort of way that even he doesn't understand? That would serve to your advantage, right? If you were the Dark One, Balsamon.
Right now, I'm not gonna lie. My brain, like, there's at least probably 47 ideas in my brain that's like fighting each
Yeah.
other. I'm not sure which one to kind of say right now. But god damn, bro. Like that chapter, that I reckon that was like probably the best dream that Rand had. I think I read that dream like 2 times, man. Like I was like, no. I was convinced that he was like somehow part of Balsamon.
Rand is the Dark One.
I still think that's a possibility. I still think that Rand is going to head towards the dark path. You know what I mean? I still think he could because
I don't think that's going to spoil anything for me to.
it's an assumption because Rand.
It's sort of told like to you on the first page, right? With the prologue.
Like, I mean, yeah. Look at the dragon in his last moments. Like Rand could literally get to that state. Like in my mind, Logain. That's another character. I feel like this guy's gonna be important. Is
They're
he actually
expanding him in the TV show a lot, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you guys are always retweeting these Wheel of Time, the
yeah,
promos
all the
and
content
stuff.
they put out, man. So much going on.
You know what? One thing about the show, it's kind of messing with my head. Isn't Rand the main character? They're making it seem like Moraine is like the main character for the show.
Quick question for you. Have you started the Great Hunt yet at all?
Nope.
Not all. Okay.
Nope.
So one thing that will become evident quickly as you get deeper into the series is that unlike the Eye of the World, which was like 90% from Rand's perspective, he gets less and less sort of page time. Not to the point where he's non-existent, and I don't even mean page time as in like his character's always in the books and on the page all the time, but he gets less point of views. So you'll see him through other people's perspectives more as the book goes on. And of course, that means you're seeing inside their perspectives. So much more of the ensemble cast that you might see depicted in the shows. That becomes more of a thing in book 2. You do get a few more POVs in book 2 than you did in book 1. Rand's barely in it. He gets like 2 POV chapters or something.
No way.
I mean, he's in it through other people's perspectives, but
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
I actually like that a lot because sometimes you see some of the best moments from other characters is from another character's point of view.
exactly, yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you can like they're like this, they're like literally describing what the other character's doing. And plus, I feel like Rand is such a he's a new character. Both all three, Rand, Matt, and Perrin, they're like a new character to the world. They never left the Emmons Fields, so we kind of have like a premature judgment of the whole entire world from their point of view. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that's probably why the Eye of the World isn't fully explained. For example, if we had more point of view
Right.
from Moraine, Lan, or Tom, I still don't think he's dead, but Tom, we could learn
That's
so much more,
exactly.
man. You know what I mean?
You're picking up on the right thing there. One of the key elements of the series is that Robert Jean is like the master of the unreliable narrator.
Mhm.
So he's as reliable as the character is thinking. So like when you're in Rand's point of view, like he notices things like I don't know, the way Gawain looks at him sideways or how
Yeah.
Lan's holding his sword or whatever. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah.
in a female character's view, let's say Elaine, the daughter heir of Andor, just for example, she might be thinking about like how someone's dressed or what jewels they're wearing, and that's like a simplistic level of it, but it goes all the way up to the level of the end of book one is confusing as hell because Rand has no idea what's going on, and he's the viewpoint that you're in, so you have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on either at
Exactly.
this point.
Yeah. 100%. I could not agree more. Someone, I forgot who told me in the comments, but someone did mention that in the comments. So shout out to you, but my bad for forgetting your name.
Might have been me.
Might as well, man. But yeah, that was a very good point. And okay, let's go outside of the book now. Let's talk about the
Sure.
Wheel of Time as a whole. So before obviously diving into the Wheel of Time, I've done a little research here and there, and people say that from book 1 to 7 is amazing, but then you have like a thing which you guys call a slog or a slug. I don't know.
The slog, yeah.
Okay, yes.
That's,
Is it the slog? Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 3 books. That's not the best. Like, and then it picks up at the end. So, how did you how was your experience with the slog?
honestly not that bad. And I was not part of the like group of people that were actually waiting for the books to release one at a time. And a lot of the negativity around the slog in the Wheel of Time fandom came from the fact that they were waiting like 2 years for a book, and then they'd get a book and it'd cover like a week and nothing happened, just
Okay.
from a load of different points of view or whatever. And though that's not so bad when you have access to all the books from Kindle or a library or Audible or whatever you're using to read the series, because you can just read through that and it's like, cool, the next book.
Yep.
I guess that
Exactly.
was a bit of a slow one, but I've got the next book. You don't have to wait another 2 years for the next book to come out. So that's where a lot of like the sort of attitude of the slog came from originally. For me reading it when it was all available, there's one book, Crossroads of Twilight, which
I've heard
is
of
a
that. Yeah.
tough one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough one to get through because it's essentially just hear everyone's reaction to the finale of the book before it.
Oh, what? No way, the whole book. And we know that one Wheel of Time book is like what 800 pages.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the Crossroad of Twilight is like a flashback for the last book.
Pretty much. It's
Oh,
like
wow.
a previously on like on the Wheel of Time.
So
kind of.
Can you just skip that book then, or do you still have to read it?
I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't skip
recommend skipping it.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
You could probably skip it on a reread.
Oh yeah.
Put it that way. I'd read it at least once. I'd read all of it at least once. And even if I think there is some plot elements that do occur in that, even though not much time passes, things do happen. And even in the slowest books, there are moments that
Okay.
are like, oh wow. But more importantly, those books that were a bit slower, and it's not just Crossroads of Twilight. The books
Yep.
surrounding that, on probably at least one on either side, are a bit slower as well. But admittedly a lot better than Crossroads of
Yep.
Twilight.
I'm used to reading big stories, like very long stories, and there might be some arcs here and there that might be slow or not a fan favorite arc. However, sometimes there might be just one moment that's like a highlight moment of the whole entire series. So I was wondering
Yeah,
if the Wheel of Time books that's in the slug has those moments. Because honestly, if
I
it does,
feel
I
like
would not
most of
care.
them do, for sure.
Exactly.
For
Then
sure.
honestly, I would not care. Like I feel like I'm kind of experienced handling any kind of
And
slug or whatever. So
even like without those moments, if you took those moments out, what's left there is it's slow plot development, but it's really in-depth, important world building that you will appreciate the more that you find yourself lost in this world.
okay.
Which, by the way, you pretty much never get out of now. You're
Yeah,
stuck in the wheel of time.
it's a massive world. Even though I just read one book, it feels huge, man. Another thing, I was convinced that they will get to Tarvalin at the end of the book. I was convinced, but I was kind of disappointed. Like I really wanted to see Tarvalin. Like I was so excited. Like I think I
You'll
mentioned
see it.
multiple times. I know when we get Tarvalin, it's going to be the best arc. I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be the best arc. It has to be. Like the way they're hyping up Tarvalin and all these, it seems like it's like a whole system, like a proper system that they follow, like the Aes Sedai. They also have, I don't know, I'm just very excited. I'm very excited. Like the Aes Sedai in general, like that plot line is probably the most interesting to me at the moment. Like I remember
You
when
don't get a lot of it in book one at all, do
you
you?
don't, yeah, you don't. I remember when they were taking Logain in the cage. I don't know if you remember in Camelin, and then he had like 8 Aes Sedai around him trying to keep him away from the tree source.
Definitely
Yeah, like
remember.
those few sentences were so good. I was like, no way, 8 Aes Sedai, 8 people to hold off Logain, and then there was like a bunch of waters as well. Like
Have you seen that recent clip that got released of him? It's
I've
like
seen it.
15-second clip of Logan.
Yeah, he looks very good. He looks
I
dangerous.
mean,
He
that's
looks
pretty
dangerous.
much that, isn't it?
Yeah, he
Like,
looks dangerous. But in the book, Logan was smiling, man. I remember he was just he was smiling at the crowd, like he was like, "Bro, who are these peasants, man?" And when I'm reading the book, I have a clear picture of what I would vision these characters as, yeah. But when I see like a
yeah.
clip of the show, straight away, boom, they do a switcheroo straight away.
Oh
Like
yeah, like some of the cast have replaced my headcanon that's
exactly like
been there for years. You
I
know,
don't know. I don't know I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Like honestly, Rand is going to be always the actor. I can't change that like right now. And
sure.
Moraine, I try so hard to picture her as an ageless woman, but I guess that's not possible anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much said they were going to abandon that whole thing. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's
why
pretty.
CGI every scene to make someone's
No,
face
don't.
look unnatural?
No, no, no,
Like
no, no.
spend your budget on better things.
No, with the Wheel of
Um,
Time, they have to make it look as natural as possible because it's set in a natural world. You know what I mean? It's not like some high fantasy, nothing like that. I think that's what they did
right,
with the
right.
Hobbits. I don't know if you watched the Hobbit movies. Like that was
I
CGI to
guess
the
I haven't.
max. Oh no way!
Well, I heard they were bad. So.
I wouldn't say that I enjoyed them. I feel like they were just over. They CGI'd the crap out of that movie. That's what they did.
Sure.
And yeah, but I like the story. I never read the books. Maybe that's why I liked it. People who read the books, they just
Yeah,
seem.
I haven't either. Did watch Lord of the Rings, but wasn't big on it to be honest, which is weird for a fantasy fan, I know, but yeah.
You know what? I feel like Lord of the Rings. A lot of people like it and hate it. I feel like it's just too long. Do you know what I mean each movie is like almost
Yeah,
4 hours long? That's probably why people
yeah.
just don't take it seriously. And I can understand it, but it is what it is, man. And one more question I want to ask you.
Hey, no need for one more. Keep going, keep going.
No,
More
but
more questions, the better.
this is the ultimate question. Which book in the series is your favorite book?
Mm, absolute favorite. It's really hard, man, because there's at least I could give a fair argument for at least 5 books.
Oh, we'll give you top three. You can do your
Top
top three.
three. Oh wow. Okay, that might be harder.
No way. I thought one was hard
Okay.
enough,
Okay.
man.
So I'm sorry, but A Memory of Light has to be in there.
That's the
Which is the
last one,
final
right?
book. The
Okay.
final book, yeah.
My
Because
guy,
it's a
Brandon.
phenomenal uh capstone to the series.
Okay.
All my expectations were just met and exceeded.
I'm so
Um,
happy for you guys. Like having a new author jump into the series and finishing it off in a positive way. I
he
couldn't
had
be
a lot of
more.
notes to
Yeah.
go on, and a lot of
Imagine the pressure he must have been going through. Like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
much books was
I
it?
mean,
Like, I think 11 books published before he even came in.
yeah, and then Brandon finished the last three along with certain passages and plenty of notes that Robert Jordan had left. He'd prepared, he knew he was going to not survive to finish his series, so he
Mm.
prepared notes to leave for another author to finish after he passed.
Mm.
And there's a foreword from Brandon at the start of I think it's Ninth of Dreams, where he takes over, that explains how he came to be in the position of writing it, which I'm sure you'll enjoy if you're a fan of Brandon. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
the Memory of Light's got to be in that top three because it's a phenomenal end. Um,
Okay.
I think I have to put The Shadow Horizon in there, which is a fan favorite
Which
and
book? Do you
one
know
of
the book
mine as
number for
well.
that? Do you know the
That's
book
book
number for
four.
that?
Book
Book
four.
four. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Uh,
It's a fan
that's
favorite.
when the
Okay.
series really like opens up.
Okay. I see what you mean. I see
So
what you mean. There's a lot
like
of
books one
stories.
to
Yeah.
three is quite it's it sort of warms you up to the world. It introduces you. Like, okay, here's some stuff over there, and that's cool. It's like the spine of the tree,
Hmm.
and then like Shadow Horizon just goes boom,
Oh, I
and,
see what you mean.
and
It
you're
pretty much
like,
like opens up the whole
what the
world.
hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. You realize the true like scope of what the series is, and how like small your worldview was before of the Wheel of Time world, even
Exactly.
though it seems like it's probably massive already.
No, I get what you mean. I'm gonna bring up this a lot of time. I read One Piece. It was the exact same way. A few arcs was good, like the world was massive
I
until
have heard them compared in that way. Yeah.
because
Sorry.
literally after like 300 chapters or so, they show you the political part of the whole world, and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So I see
Mm.
what you mean. Do you know what I mean? Like they show one part which literally opens up to so many other parts. So I get what you mean, and I'll keep that in mind. Book four, I'll
And
keep
the
that in
true
mind.
scope of the story, it just doesn't really become clear till at least that point.
Mm.
You think you know what's going on for the majority of it. Um,
I got told that a lot. Yeah, you think you know, but you'll just get disappointed.
but some things won't disappoint you.
Of course, it's a good disappointment. It's a good disappointment. It's more
Yeah,
like
oh
a
yeah. It's way
satisfactory
better than you
disappointment.
expect it to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I
yeah.
was wrong, but this is so cool.
I'd rather be wrong than right. Because if I'm right, yeah, it'll feel good, but then it's nothing to um really keep in mind. You know what I mean? But if you forget and something bigger than you had originally planned for, hey, man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I'm gonna finally just get back to answering your question though, with my last one in that top
Oh
three,
yeah,
and it will
my
be
bad.
my first choice. My favorite book, The Dragon Reborn, book three.
The Dragon Reborn.
Book three, yeah. And that
Wait,
might be a controversial one. Not everyone's gonna agree with that one. But for me personally, and I can tell you why without being too spoilery, right?
no, go for it.
First let me ask you a question. What do you think of Matt?
Matt.
Yeah.
Mm. Matt is definitely one of my favorite. I'll say his top six. My top six favorite characters.
Such an insult. You've only met like 6 characters.
No,
There's
relax.
like what, 7
There's
plus
like nine.
Tom
There's like
and
nine. There's like nine. He's in the top 60%. I love it, man.
6 out of 9. Wow.
No. Actually, no.
Oh yeah, speaky piece,
I have to.
speaky
I
piece.
actually have to. I have to think about this. Like, who are my top favorite characters? We'll do that. We'll do that later. But Matt, at the start of the book, he was my top 3 or 2. I love
Sure.
Matt. As the story went on, honestly, people might say that his change of personality might be annoying, but honestly, I find it more interesting, man. Like the more the story went on, the more I ended up liking Matt. However, I just also ended up liking other characters as well at the same time. So
Sure.
that's why.
Do you understand the changes in personality fully? I can't remember exactly how explained they are at this point. That's what I'm sort of trying to ascertain.
So it seemed like he was always kind of fond of money or any kind of valuables. You know what I mean? So that I guess that's always been a part of him. So ever since they went to Shade of Lagos, then he took the dagger, and that dagger changed. It's changing him consistently
Right.
until
That's what I was trying to get at. I couldn't remember if
yeah.
that reveal had happened, but it definitely has, hasn't it? So you know that the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the dagger has been affecting his behavior then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moraine said like it had evil inside of him that it makes people want to kill, and
sure.
it's also contagious. So if you touch him, then it's gonna go to you as well. So
Yeah,
that's why. Another point is when they were at Faldara and they were talking with what was that Lord of Faldara, right? Matt was
Agolmar.
Agolmar,
It'll
that's
be
the
either
one.
Agolmar or Ingtar, maybe. They're both
I
mentioned.
think it's Agolmar. I think it's Agolmar. So do you remember when Paid Fane came in, like he was
Yeah.
captured? That's when Matt was holding onto his dagger. Like you could see he was
Yeah.
going back to his old personalities, but then Moraine came and like whispered something in his ears, and then he went back to normal. So that's why I feel like Matt's going to be a very interesting to follow on because he is in a vulnerable kind of state. Do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
not complete. I feel like out of all three, he is the most vulnerable at this moment of time because he's not completely healed from whatever.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
100% right. Yeah, and without trying to go into anything that happens in book 2, I think book 3, The Dragon Reborn, my favorite, is because you get to see more of the real Matt in that book coming out, and
nice.
his character becomes a lot more. I mean, you get to be in his head for the first time,
Yeah, we didn't have a
and
Matt
that
point of
really
view in this
helps.
book. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you see him from other people's points of view, and everyone kind of looks down on him because he's
Yeah, kind of.
always
Especially
flirting
the
with
girls, man.
girls or
Yeah,
whatever.
the
Yeah.
girls hate him, man. Like especially Egwene. Yo, Egwene. I'm not. I'm not. I can't like her. Like I'm trying to like
Not a
her. I
fan.
can't like Egwene. I'm not a fan of
She's a
Egwene,
bit
man.
annoying at the start. I'm not gonna lie. She's a bit
Okay,
annoying at the
okay.
start.
Honestly, I believe that she can get better, and I will believe she will get
Mm.
better. Because I want to like her, man. I want to like her. She's a part of the crew, and I want to like her. So hopefully she
That's the
gets
thing
better.
about these
But
characters. They all go through such an incredible journey that at different points they will be your favorite and your least favorite, like for sure.
damn,
When I started reading the books, when I was in your position,
yeah,
I couldn't stand Nynaeve.
no
Um,
way. Oh
but
well.
like she's like my top 3 characters in the series now. Having
She
finished
gets
it,
better. She gets better from what she is right now.
bro, you don't even know. Oh,
Oh, damn, Nynaeve is probably gonna have some crazy characters. Oh god damn, bro.
she is so badass, man.
I'll tell you why I like Nynaeve. Even I watched a some other reviews on the Outworld. They have your opinion. They don't like Nynaeve. And then I'm here like, why would you not like her, man? She's the only person who's standing up to an Aes Sedai. Who else is doing that? Tell me who else is doing that, man. She is literally a boss. At the same time, you can see how much she cares for the boys as well. At the same
Yeah,
time. That's why I feel like she's the most authentic character in the whole
she's
first book.
very a lot of them are. And I think that was John's goal with a lot of it was to create authentic characters. You know, even Rand is like, yeah,
He's
he's
very
the
authentic,
chosen
yeah.
one, but he's exactly how a fanboy would react if he was told he was the
Yeah, he's
chosen one.
frightened, man.
He'd
He's
be like,
frightened.
"What?
Yeah.
No, bye. I'm
Yeah,
getting
he's
out of
not
it.
like, oh yeah,
See you later."
I'm gonna take on this journey. I'm gonna beat the dark one. He's not like that. Like he's actually scared. He's actually
Yeah.
pissing himself throughout the whole story. So
So they all have authentic behaviors.
Moraine got one point of view at the end, which actually pissed me off so much. I'm like, how you gonna give me Moraine? Okay, fair enough, you gave me a point of view from Moraine, but how you gonna give me like 5 lines? Like when the book
It,
ended. I
if it
was
helps, I'm pretty sure chapter 1 of The Great Hunt is a Moraine point of view.
I mean, that's a very good cliffhanger. ending the book on a Moraine point of view. Like, God damn, Robert Jordan,
It was
why
just
did
her
you do
like
this to me?
saying the dragon is reborn or something, right?
Yeah, she said that. I was kind of predicting. I think most people can easily predict that Ren was going to be the dragon reborn, or actually,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. That's generally
Oh,
something that people
yeah.
catch on. In the books at least. I think they're trying to make it more of a mystery in the show. But
I think in the show they maybe might try to put it
they're
on
trying to play
Logain.
it up as like which of the boys, and Egwene as well. The four of them. They're kind of trying to make it look like it could be any one of the four. So like Rand, Matt, Perrin, and Egwene. And then like Logain has a false dragon as well, but it's just another confusion, really, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it remains to be seen yet, anyway. But
One thing that came to my head is the false dragon. Can you give me a full clarification what a false dragon is? Is it someone who
sure.
claims to be the dragon, or because they're still really powerful? I feel like
Yep.
they can still be the dragon if they want to.
So if you think of the dragon as the prophet or the Messiah or
Yeah.
the chosen one, the dragon reborn is meant to be his reincarnation, right?
Mhm.
And it's a man who can channel. Any man who thinks he can channel and is powerful is inclined to believe that he's the dragon reborn.
Okay.
I mean, if you were one of the few men with the ability to channel and you were powerful at it, like you raise the banner of the dragon and some people will come and fight for you. Because some people will think you are the prophesied chosen one, and you may well believe that yourself because you're the most powerful one with the power that you've ever witnessed, right? Because there's barely any of them around. Even if all you can do is like blow up a barn, you probably think you're Dragon Reborn. So, like, to put yourself in Logan's point of view, Logan believes he's the Dragon Reborn.
Or he believes that he is a dragon reborn. So wouldn't that pretty much apply to Rand as well? Because who is can Moraine tell who the dragon reborn is?
Well, that's sort of Moraine's mission, is to try and find the Dragon Reborn. That's sort of why she was in Emond's Field in the first place.
So she initially thought that it could either be Matt, Perrin, and Rand.
Yeah, she was unsure. She didn't know which one. They were all born within a week of each other. And the birthday, along with a couple other things, was what eventually. I mean, you do learn more about that backstory in the prequel novella, New Spring.
Oh, New Spring. Okay, I don't know about that though.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, it was published like between book 10 and 11, I think, and it's a good read. But I'd probably read it in publication order, so I wouldn't read that till a bit down the line. But that's like a backstory of Moraine and Lan and how they met and
yes,
why she set off on this quest to find the dragon.
No way! I would actually love to read that book right now. Then, in that case, because I'm a big fan of backstories.
Yeah, it's safe to read. Like, it's not going to spoil anything for the main series, I don't think.
Yeah.
But personally, I would read it like in publication order, or at least after book 6.
Okay, book 6. Okay, I'll take your word of advice and I'll stick to that then. Because honestly, I want to read The Great Hunt and I want to find out. You said that Matt was quite relevant in book 2, and I would love to know his story in book 2. So
he's somewhat relevant. He doesn't come into his own until book 3. That's when I was saying that I really like him, and that's why I like book 3 so much. Because the side of Matt that you saw in those opening chapters where you're like, oh, it was my top 2 at first. Like that side of him, that little glint of like the joking, do you want to set a badger loose on the green? Yeah. Like that Matt comes out in its fullest. And yeah, that's why I like the Dragon Reborn so much anyway. Okay. Book 3.
And so if you want to be Tarveren, do you have to be have to be the dragon, or can you just be anyone else if you want to be Tarveren?
Being a Tarveren is a bit of a combination of plot armor that's actually written into the story. Like if you think of it like the butterfly effect, right? Everything a Tarveren does affects everything around them, just in ripples. So it's like the butterfly effect. If you change one thing, it changes everything else. And Tarvaran are basically like constantly doing that. The pattern just swirls around them and gets confused by them. And Randy's a really strong Tarvaran because he's Dragon Reborn. He's just a really strong Tarvaran. So if he does something simple, then it could affect people hundreds of miles away. It's sort of just like a property that's born within them or instilled within them because it's the pattern's way of making sure that things go the way they need to go.
Interesting. At the start, when Moraine gave out the coins, I don't know if you remember that too.
Yeah.
So does that mean that whoever she gave a coin to is Tarvaran?
No, so the coins were, I think they were explained in this book as they were basically just a way for
To
her
track
to
them, I
locate
think.
the boys. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because she also gave a coin to Elwyn.
To Elwyn, yeah.
And then he never reappeared, which always was a mystery to me.
Yeah, she gave him like a silver penny or something, and gave the boys like I don't know, a gold crown or something. But he was there with them, so she just like gave him a silver penny, so he didn't feel left out. Like it wasn't a tracked coin or anything. It was literally just Moraine being nice.
I'm just gonna assume that Edwin's gonna be very important, and there's no way that he's gonna be left up for the whole entire book. Like I thought he was gonna be one of the main characters.
He comes back. He's there. Like
I thought he was gonna be one of the main characters. Like I thought it was gonna be. I know people were talking about three chosen people, and I thought it was gonna be Rand, Matt, and
early
Edwin
on.
because Perrin came a bit later onwards. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, and I actually liked Edwin as well. And I was like, where did this guy go? So honestly, I think something's big.
You will see him
What if
again
he's a dragon?
in a few books.
What if he's the dragon?
Well, I think you know that one already.
You never know, man. Because like I said, like you said, I know where the story is going, but then I'm going to be wrong regardless. So I might as well make some crazy predictions right now.
True.
Edwin, I'm calling it right now.
I'm
calling it right now. Edwin is a dragon, guys. I'm calling it right now. Edwin is a dragon. I'm not wrong. I don't care. I probably am wrong, but I know it.
Definitely. I mean, that would be a huge plot twist. After all of book one setting up Rand as a dragon, that would be a humongous plot twist.
Oh man, I can't wait, bro.
Edwin
I cannot wait.
Where do you think book 2's going?
What do I think book 2's going? I hope he goes to Tarvalan. I'm just a sucker for Tarvalan at this point. Like I really want it to go to Tarvalan. I feel like once we get to.
You haven't met the Amelin Sea yet, have you?
Nah, I don't know who that is. The only thing I know so far is that they are divided into something called the ages of
Arjas or
Arja.
Yeah,
okay,
Arja, Aja. I don't know. Everyone pronounces things their own way, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's like their schools essentially. If you think of it like a school of magic, like the yellows are all about healing, the reds hunt men, the blues are all about like fighting for a cause. They're just like different schools within the same organization.
I know that the red one is probably one to watch out for because obviously now that Rand, knows how to use magic, they will be hunting down Rand. I'm assuming that's probably where it's going to go. So Rand's going to have more than one enemy. So now he's got the Dark One's creatures, and now he's also got the Red Archers. And the black Archers are mysterious one. Like initially, I thought the black Archers were the Murdrels. That's what I thought.
Sure.
I thought the black Archers were the Murdrels. That's what I thought initially, because a Murdrel is enough to fight a warder, and you can kind of I can kind of say that a warder equals to an Aes Sedai. Maybe an Aes Sedai is a little stronger, but they're kind of there, you know what I mean? So if a warder can take on a Murderer 1v1, maybe they are the Black Archers who work for the Dark One. But it's all an assumption. I don't know, man. It's almost like they're kind of connected to to Tarvalan and at the Dark One at the same time. So it's like I don't know. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know.
You could be right if the Black Arjar did exist. Or not. The Black Arjar isn't like that's not one of the Arjars, Ask the Amelin Sea. She's gonna be like so the Amelin Sea essentially, you'll meet her pretty soon, and she's like the person in charge at the White Tower, essentially.
Okay.
Um,
So I don't know. I feel like from where the story is going, there has to be some sort of corruption in the world. So I feel like that's where Tar Valon comes into play. There has to be some kind of
literally
corruption.
corruption everywhere.
Exactly. So that's where probably the Emerald Seed comes in. Yeah, that's where the Emerald Seed comes in. She's probably hiding the fact that there's no Black Archers. I don't know. Well, that's an assumption.
Rougher.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. Definitely there's corruption. Okay. It feels like with every massive story, there has to be some kind of corruption within the government. So this is what the author's trying to do. They're trying to put your attention to the Dark One and the murderers and the Trollocs, but then you're like, yo, but then probably the main stuff that's been happening is behind the scenes. And that's one reason why I want to get to Tar Valon. I feel like a lot of these answers will be answered in Tar Valon. That's why I don't know. I'm like constantly saying Tar Valon, Tar Valon, Tar Valon. But yeah, that's where I think this
Well,
book is
let me
go.
ask you this: who do you want to go there? Like, if you want to see, I get it, you want to see Tavlon, but like, through whose perspective?
Moraine, 100%, 100%
Moraine. Okay.
Yeah, 100 with Moraine and someone else with her. I feel like Matt's gonna go with her because Matt obviously he's not safe from the dagger, so Matt's gonna go with
Needs to be
Moraine.
healed.
Exactly, and then actually no. In book one, they mentioned a lot of other people going to Tar Valon, right? Loghain is going, Elaine, Gowen, they're all going to Tar Valon.
Yeah.
And now Nynaeve and Egwene's going.
Hmm.
So a lot of people's going to Tar Valon. So, but I want to see it from Moraine or Lan's point of view because then we can know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? We can know what they're talking about.
Sure. Sure.
Or Elaida. The what do you call her name? The Aes Sedai from
Elaida,
Cambridge.
you want to see more of her? She was in like what, one chapter?
Yeah. She was in one chapter, and by far she's whoa, no, that's my phone, my bad. She was in one chapter, and she is arguably the most scariest character in the whole entire book.
Okay.
By far, man. She was quite frightening, man. It's almost like she's hunting down Rand. Do you know what I mean? She was like
She's
she
pretty
was
scary.
yeah.
Yeah, what did you think of that whole scene in the palace?
I thought it was a good chapter. I thought it was a really good chapter actually. Like
Great, isn't it?
we got to meet the queen. We got to meet Elaine. I feel like Elaine is one of my favorite characters as well. Like her whole personality, I'm a big fan of that. Gowen, I like that guy as well. But then obviously the highlight of the chapter was Queen Morghese and Elaida. And Morghese, I feel like she is a good queen. I feel like yes, she's careful, but I feel like she tries to look for justice at the end of the day. But then you've got Elaida. She's like a hunter, bro. I feel like once she sees something, she wants it, and I feel like that's Rand. And if that's the case, wouldn't that make her the Red Archer? Because she probably sensed like something.
Elaida
in
is
him.
Red Archer, yeah.
Oh,
She
it
is
is.
of the Red Archer, yeah.
But wasn't she wearing something green? That's why I was assuming she was in the Green Archer. She was wearing like a
Well,
green
in the books,
something.
the colors that they wear don't necessarily signify
Okay.
their Archer.
Okay, that's
They
what I
usually have
thought.
a shawl of the color, like a headdress shawl thing of their
I
color.
see.
But they don't always wear it necessarily.
Oh, so
In
she
the show, I
is
think they're
red.
playing that up a lot more, like the
Ah,
costumes all being on colors, just so it's easier to identify as a viewer,
yeah.
right? But yeah. Elaida is a red sister.
Damn,
Yes.
she's a red Archer, somewhat in control of a massive city. That's kind of
Yeah,
scary, man.
she's the advisor. She's the queen's advisor
Queen's
from the
advisor.
White Tower.
That's scary. That's frightening. I would not want to mess with Cambridge if I was another town, if I was another city.
Well, no, it's fine because, as you just said, Elaine and Gawain and Loghain are all on their way to Tarvalon, and she's going with them. So
Oh yeah, Elaida is going with them. Carl. Yeah, that's bro. This is why I am hyped for Tar Valon, man. In Tar Valon, is it only females or is there guys there as well?
well, the White Tower and the Aes Sedai are all female because males who channel go insane, right? So there's men living in the city. Tarvalon is the city around the White Tower, and the White Tower is the the home of the Aes Sedai, where they're
Interesting,
trained
yeah.
and live and do their daily business.
I see. How about you, man? Do you have any questions for me as a new reader, or any
Who's your
advice going
favorite
forward?
character?
Who's my favorite character? Nynaeve. Straight
Okay.
up, Nynaeve. Actually, I'll tell you my top 5 because I feel like I like a lot of characters.
Sure.
Number 1 has to be Nynaeve. Number 2 is going to be a controversial one. I don't think a lot of people would see this coming. It has to be Elias, the wolf.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Elias.
Like every single time, or is it Elias? Okay. Every single time
I used to say Elias in my head, but Elias is how most people say it,
Elias.
I think.
Okay. Because when his chapters were always intriguing, bro. I couldn't wait to get to Perrin's point of view just to see him. I remember. So he's number 2. Number 3 has to be Lan.
Lan's badass.
Yeah, he is sick, bro.
What a backstory.
He is a boss, man. Number 4. Damn, this is hard. Either Perrin or Moraine. I think Moraine number 4 and number 5 Perrin. Yeah, I'll probably go. That's why I was like Matt probably is number 6. That's why earlier I was like Matt is top 6. You know
what about Rand?
Rand?
I guess Rand's kind of boring right now, right? Rand the Blonde in book 1.
I like Rand. Rand's probably, you can argue Matt and Rand to change for number 6 and 7. You know what I mean? And I feel like Loyal, the Ogier, has potential to go up.
He's in my top 5.
No, top 5.
He's in my top 5.
Yeah, I feel like
yeah.
Because I barely got to see.
No, my top 5. Like having finished the series, because I think you've met all of them. My top 5 is Matt. Unknown character. Matt's my first.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite. Unknown character is second, then Nynaeve, then Loyal, then Rand.
Oh, Rand makes top 5. I feel like Rand will eventually get more interesting as we go on.
That he has the most incredible character arc in all fantasy literature, all literature. Damn. Like that's that, in my opinion, it's my opinion. Okay. It's a big statement, yeah. Rand's arc is honestly phenomenal.
Right now he's like a paranoid person and he has to overcome a lot of hurdles to be where he needs to be. So I can kind of see that happening. So fair enough. Oh, a special shout out to Elaine as well. I like, even though we only saw her for like 1 chapter, I liked her a lot. Elaine. Who else we had?
You'll see a lot more of Elaine, don't worry.
Okay, that's good, man. That's good. And Tom was like, I feel like as the story went on, he became a lot better, but then he just disappeared, which he's not dead. No way he's dead, but we'll see. Tom was very good. And Bartle Zamon, very good villain for the first book. Very good villain. I feel like Jordan did a very good job with him because he's not the Dark One. I can tell he's not the Dark One. He either is, but by using like a different way to approach these guys, but he's not completely the Dark One. So by choosing Bartle Zamon as the main villain for the first book, I reckon that was a good move.
I'm trying not to say anything I shouldn't. That's why I'm sort of just
you know what? Don't worry, we'll end it right here, man. We'll end it right here. Yeah, thank you so much thank you for joining.
It's been a pleasure
coming in, man. And let the people know where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, if you like the Wheel of Time, hop over to my channel, Wheel Up Time. I'm on YouTube and also on Twitter. I make animated music videos as characters from the Wheel of Time. So that's mainly what I do. I'm also making a board game based on the Wheel of Time, but yeah, it's mainly animated music videos. So probably something you didn't know existed.
That's something different, man, and you should check it out, exactly, man. Obviously, right. I can't because spoiler pack. So it's for the folks who actually is up to date with the show. So
spoiler full.
But it is something new, you know what I mean? Have you ever heard of?
Check my channel out.
I'll leave the link down in the descriptions below, so make sure to check his channel out. And without further ado, thank you guys for watching this video. See you guys again on Sunday. Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye.